Askreddit. People who had hallucinations. What was the creepiest thing you have seen? I get sleep paralysis quite often. Scariest one was when I was 11. I was sleeping on my back with my head to the side looking at my wall. I woke up looking at myself in the big mirror on the wall. Mirror me was staring back, but he wasn't paralyzed, and looked like he wanted to kill me. I had sleep paralysis once. I woke up looking straight up at the ceiling so I couldn't really see the room, but it felt like someone was standing next to me at the edge of the bed. I recognized what it was, so I kept thinking, it's cool, don't freak out, it doesn't last long, it's not a big deal. Then I heard a voice say, yeah, but I'm gonna kill you anyways. Was pretty fucking unnerving, but it ended soon after. So I was tripping on acid, and anyone who has tripped on acid knows that hallucinations aren't always visual. They can be sensory, auditory, etc. Anyway, I beat my meat whilst trying to contemplate the concept of pornography and how it plays a role in the universe. When I nut, I felt my thoughts leave my brain and shoot out of my dick. Like my actual thoughts. They was lost forever. At first I read that as photography, and I was thinking how true that is, like the photos of the monks immolating themselves and that awful napalm photo that definitely helped swing public opinion and helped end the Vietnam War, or those Dorothea Lange Dust Bowl photos. Then I realized you said porno, not photo. Never mind. I regularly had hallucinations before I got on my antipsychotics, still get some today, but they're nowhere near as vivid as they used to be. I saw a lot of tall, pale humanoid figures with no facial features. Scared me shitless when I read the Slenderman creepypasta. Also saw plenty of nondescript shadows. One time I saw one near my pantry looking like it was sorting through the food. That actually made me less afraid, since I imagined it was just grabbing a snack. LMAO, my tactile hallucinations were the worst. I would feel itchy all over or felt like bugs were crawling over my skin. My auditory ones were the less frightening ones. I'd usually just hear voices that were too quiet to understand. It felt like I was hearing someone else's conversation in passing. I've been on my meds for 4-ish years now, and I am doing so much better. I still see or hear the occasional thing, but overall I do not hallucinate anymore. The creepiest thing I've seen while hallucinating. When I was maybe 14 or 15, I had seen a tall lanky silhouette at the bottom of my stairs. Its head was facing up to me, but I couldn't see any facial features. It reached out with one of its arms up to me, but before anything else happened I closed my eyes and stood there for about 5 minutes, maybe 10. I opened my eyes and poof, it's gone. I dunno if you'd class that as creepy though. I saw a dude with a girl walking in front of me. Girl was normal, so was he, except the part in which he has a black rotating void instead of a head. I once had this dream where I was in the middle of a fancy party, but everyone else there was static, as if the time has stopped. The most interesting part about it was that everyone had a rotating void instead of a head. Really dope dream tbh. My creepiest was an auditory hallucination after taking too much Benadryl. Every few minutes I would hear my mom yelling my name along with bursts of a man laughing. Was crazy scary. Had to put the TV on and wait the 4 to 6 hours it took to wear off. I had some visual hallucinations when I took too much Benadryl one night. I locked myself in the bathroom and stared at millions of tiny spiders crawling all over my shower for a few hours. I took some acid, which I later found out wasn't acid, and hallucinated that I died. Throughout the trip, I knew it was laced. I was mostly unresponsive, and Mom came in to see my catatonic. She called an ambulance and held me in my bed while I convulsed. EMT arrived. I could see the emergency lights shining through my house, could hear my mom crying and screaming. After many hours of looping, I watched the EMTs put the defibrillator on my chest and zap me a few times before I ultimately died. I woke up the next morning to my mom making pancakes downstairs. There were no ambulances, no dying, my mom didn't even know I was home. Pro tip: buy a fucking test kit. One time me and a couple of my friends smoked some weed that some dickhead put PCP in. The first full-on trip I noticed was sitting down beside my friend and was on my iPad. At the same time my friend had the same iPad and was doing the exact things I was doing on the iPad. Next thing I notice he stands up and I see him get pushed into the couch like some weird animation from a ghost movie or something, just swept off his feet into the couch. Next thing I can remember is running around my friend's cow farm for a good while. My friends, who didn't smoke the weed, finally got us back inside. When we got back inside I kept hearing my friends talking to me even though they were not talking. My friend also ended up full on stomping on my head as a joke and I felt absolutely nothing. My friend on the other hand said he saw the devil and a weird demonic girl sitting in the corner, which I thought was creepy. Anyways, that's why I buy legal weed now. LMAO also have done acid, saw how energy moved and worked, saw the connections between plants and the world. Honestly, it was one of the most beautiful experiences I have had. I have bipolar, and before I was diagnosed, medicated, I had auditory and visual hallucinations, also known as psychotic symptoms. The auditory ones included someone screaming my name, the sentence "Big Brother is watching" over and over, and a male voice screaming. The visual ones I had were fucking scary. I woke up and saw my arm covered in spiders which didn't go away when I swatted them. And I saw a guy in thick-brimmed glasses and a hat looking back at me from inside my black TV screen. Hopefully I don't come across as too crazy to you all. I thankfully haven't had any serious symptoms in about 6 months. Antipsychotic and mood-stabilizing medication is a godsend because hallucinations are no joke. My only experience with hallucinations was due to a rare side effect of some antidepressants I was taking during a stay in a psych ward due to depressions. Was trying to watch a soccer game together with the rest of the patients that wanted to, but some guy that I didn't know was blocking my view of the TV. Tried to ask the guy to move, but the remaining patients told me there was no one there. I freaked out and went to tell the nurse on duty, who informed me that it was a known side effect of the medication and that she'd talked to the doctor in the morning to put me on something different. She offered to give me something to help me sleep, but once I knew what was going on and that it wasn't a sign of me actually going insane, I told her no thanks, I want to watch the soccer game. Went back to the TV room and the damn dude was still there, wearing an MIT hoodie. I'm German, by the way, and I only vaguely know what MIT is, but I must have seen someone wearing that hoodie somewhere before and my memory dredged it up because I was able to find similar ones on the internet after, and sunglasses and shuffling a deck of cards. I asked another patient to trade seats with me after that so the idiot wasn't standing in the way and tried to ignore him, and once the soccer game was over he was gone. In hindsight, I thought it was rather amusing, but in the state of mind I was in back then it wasn't. A long time ago I saw a TV commercial for coffee with John Cleese. In the middle of addressing the camera he suddenly stops, leans forward, and lets out a blood-curdling scream. I almost had a heart attack. He then went back to the regular commercial spiel. Never saw the commercial again. I thought that it was strange, but it was John Cleese, so I assumed it was an intentional thing to mess with the viewer and part of the commercial. I believed that for decades, but occasionally I'd remember it and it seemed so strange, so one day recently I researched Cleese's commercials from the 80s and found it on YouTube. 1986 Maxwell House Master Blend. Definitely the same commercial. No scream. I had sleep paralysis as a teen, now I know how to control it so I'm not bothered anymore. I saw and heard plenty of stuff, but I remembered once I saw something that scared me so bad I didn't sleep for 2 days afterwards. I was afraid of falling asleep. It was an old lady, dressed as in 18th century, all in black with a veil on. She wouldn't move when I looked at her but would come closer and closer when I was blinking. At some point she was right next to me but would not do anything, she would just stare at me. It was really scary because I saw every detail, lace, wrinkle, hair. I could hear her breath and feel her presence. To give you an idea, she looked like the old lady from Insidious, but less evil and more detailed. Still gives me the chills when I think about it. This may not be exactly what you're asking for, but this is my story. So I tried DMT once and was told by friends who had done it before me to pretty much not to stop inhaling until I couldn't. So I did that and ended up standing in a field, then a large Aztec temple raised in front of me. At the top of this temple was a figure dressed in all black, think the Red Skull from Infinity War without the face. He looked down at me and said, "Everything is gonna be alright, everything is gonna be okay." He said "is" about 5 times. I didn't think much of it until I went back to school for my junior year of college and had the worst year of my life. I was severely depressed and had bad anxiety, which led me to dropping out. I got home and didn't had a job or anything and was worried about the future. Then I found a job with an awesome company and a promising future. At first it was terrifying, but I believe this is what the man at the top of the temple meant. Thank you all magnificent people. Leave your own stories below. If you enjoy the video, considering subscribe. I public video every day. Until then, check out my other video.